Dragons 5th edition game with the Dungeon Dudes. That's me, Dungeon Master Monty Martin.
And I'm Kelly McLaughlin, and I'm going to be playing Sebastian Crow, the half-elf shadow sorcerer. And we're joined today by our good friends.
Jill Thenitis playing Theo Senya, the Tabaxi Gloomstalker Ranger.
And Joe O'Gorman playing Pluto Jackson, the Human Battle Master.
Thank you all so much for joining us again on a Monday night, diverging from our regular Tuesday schedule, which we will be hopping back to next week. So for those of you watching with us live, after this episode, our future episodes will be back to their regular time slot on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're just joining us for the very first time, though, Kelly and I post new videos this week. Kelly, what do we have coming up this week?
We're doing 5 must-have cantrips.
Yes, we are continuing our series of looking at different categories for spells. We covered damage-dealing spells, battlefield control, the worst spells. And if you have any suggestions for like a top 5 list of a spell type you'd like us to take on, let us know in the comments. We would love to hear about it. You'll also find prior episodes from this campaign available for your viewing pleasure there as well. We're also very, very pleased to let you know that tonight's episode of Dungeons of Drakkenheim has been sponsored by Skullsplitter Dice. They sent us this awesome collection of their premium metal dice for us to use at our games. I am still rolling with this very beautiful gold set of dice. I critical hits and fatal failures in tonight's game.
2 seconds green, what the hell?
Yay!
With that, let's delve back into the ruins.
Drakkenheim is no more. Struck by a falling star, the city bathed in eldritch fire on that woeful eve. The tumultuous aftermath brought chaos, families torn asunder, and the kingdom shattered. 15 years later, monsters stalk the haunted streets of Drakkenheim. Caught amidst rival factions struggling to rule the rubble, 3 unlikely partners venture forth into the crumbling city in search of riches, renown, and revenge.
And we are back here in Drakkenheim, or rather, back in Emberwood Village. For when last we left our heroes, they had ventured far from their haunting and far from their stomping grounds in the inner city of Drakkenheim, back out to Emberwood Village, the one-time hometown of Sebastian Crow. Last time they had cut a deal with Oscar Yoren, who would investigate Queen Lenore and what had happened to her, but they have also secured a copy of his research notes and the Aqua Expergo potion, the very painful concoction that Pluto Jackson tested. Feel
And I'm gonna get your dad to power wash my armor.
You might need all new armor by this
I
point,
think
man.
that's a stain that won't come out. Like
They
OxyClean.
use magic and it's still...
Yeah, like
it's still
Having returned to Emberwood Village, our 3 heroes now are at Tobias Crow's home, enjoying the company of River and Sebastian and River's former mentor, the mage Eldrick Rumover. After having we now have them in a bit of a meeting discussing the next steps, which was sidetracked for a moment because Sebastian has some questions. What kind of questions are they, Sebastian?
Who's my mom?
just like that.
Well, are we diving right into this then?
Yeah, let's dive right in.
All right.
Armor.
We
Got it.
we are in Tobias Crow's home. The simple house which you remember growing up in, which has now grown in size, built far on the opposite side of Emberwood Village from the home that you were born in. The children are playing outside. It's later in the afternoon. Tobias has come home, and Moira has taken them out. She's been kind of fixing things for you all to eat. She's brought a few bits of food, and River and Eldrick are enjoying some tea. And the two of them, when River and Eldrick are in the room together, it is very clear that they are representatives of the Amethyst Academy. Though the members of the Academy
Friday tomorrow,
don't wear
going
any
to a lawn
symbols or
party in
insignia
Sandefjord.
on their dress,
That's gonna be
they
cool.
almost always wear purple in some way, a deep amethyst color, a bandana or in some
Maybe
way.
12
River
if
herself
my
would probably
friend can
cloak that
arrive
she wears
and get to
with a large
drive
hood.
our car.
And Eldrick himself in a kind of purple overcoat that he's drawn up over. As Eldrick turns to speak to you, you can see his kind of wizened and pockmarked face, and his big bushy beard which scraggles out but has been cut into a square shape, the skull cap that he keeps on his face. And as he turns to speak again, he catches sight of Veo. He says, "Oh, speaking of cats," and jumping up over his cloak comes his cat, a smaller black cat with a very strange beard, also cropped in the same shape as Eldrick, off of its chin. And like Eldrick, its eyes glow with a soft amber light as it eyes you all over. But they all seem to look like this.
I am like, oh, and I pull out a little bit of like the literally last piece of candied salmon that I have. Like,
How many last pieces of candied salmon do
I
you
keep finding like it
Crumbs?
kind of opens in my bag.
And
so like,
as you hold it out,
it's there.
the cat stretches out his neck in that very long cat-like way, almost perching precariously on Eldrick's shoulder to snap at the piece of salmon, and keeping its balance. And Eldrick, as the cat does so, he doesn't even need to shift to move. The cat just knows how to manage its weight on his shoulder as it gnaws down on the candied salmon.
As it snaps, I'm just like, you know?
And Eldrick turns to the cat and says, "Brutus, my..."
Buddha,
Yeah,
right?
there's a tier,
They're
a
both
hierarchy
dogs.
of cat ownership.
Eldrick sips his tea. He pulls his glasses down, kind of wipes them a little bit with a handkerchief before putting them back in place. And by this time, Tobias Crow himself, his big red beard and blacksmith's muscles, he's kind of settling himself down. He's still covered in soot from the day before. He kind of wipes his head. And he sits down. He regards River and Eldrick with a little bit of suspicion as he sits down. From what you know, Sebastian, he's maybe only met Eldrick and your father have maybe only met once, and that was probably when Eldrick came to say, "I'm taking your son."
Interesting.
Eldrick speaks up and says, "That would be my best guess. There's information about Lenneth Eventide in some of the Mage Guild's archives. The archives that were in Drakenheim, of course. For she worked out of the tower there for many, many years. So any of her work or research or notes about her would have been in that old tower. And if she retired to the countryside outside, perhaps she took some of her work with her as well."
I mean, I guess that makes sense. I never wanted to go back in that house. It's kind of, I don't know, not a happy place.
Tobias speaks up and says, "Son, there's no need to."
Only a spellcaster, but one of the most powerful spellcasters in the last century. She's worked in Drakenheim on the clock tower, which also is curious, and I have a lot of questions about that. I could get a lot of answers, not just about where I came from, where my powers came from, who I am, but also about the research I'm trying to do in Drakenheim to figure out what happened here 15 years ago.
Boy, digging up the dead brings you nothing but more questions and more pain.
On the contrary, I'd practice a little necromancy.
He stops and he says, that's dark business, boy. I want to go get a seat and walks over to one of the chests and drawers that's levels through and produces a set of keys. And he throws them on the table. He says, you can take those. The place has been locked up, boarded up. I was gonna burn it, but I didn't. You're welcome to go.
I have to. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just a house, right? What's the worst that can happen?
Stop starting that with that. What the?
I'm trying to calm myself down, alright? That house makes me really uneasy. I don't like looking at it.
Ooh, what is it? Haunted?
I hope not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, sure, it's when I was born, the dead. So yes, it might be.
River speaks up and says, I mean, if you want to take some time for a personal errand, Sebastian, and go check this out, we still have some of our own business to settle, though, with the results of what you found in the city.
We also have a bunch of delirium.
And did your dad get the Mr. Crow?
Yeah,
Did you receive our ore?
I did. I've got it in the shop.
You're welcome.
I'm excited to work with it. Should be very, very interesting. I think I might be able to make a few good weapons or maybe a nice suit of armor.
What was the delivery like? Did it just show up or?
It was very curious. River showed up walking down the street bearing this big purpley pink little floating disc. One of the most curious things I've ever seen, and I've seen some things growing up with this one.
My bad.
River shrugs.
There was an incident.
And she says, your friends, pretty interesting ones back there, but I took care of it, don't worry.
The rats?
Yeah, they're fine.
Did you meet the rat prince?
Yeah, I don't want to ever be around him again. He's very, very creepy.
He's a really nice guy once you get to know him.
We gotta get past that. Maybe we'll have like a big group thing.
This is coming from a feline point of view. He's a nice guy.
He's good people.
Now River.
Eldrick speaks up and says, River, Sebastian always made strange friends. After all, the two of you are friends.
That's right.
And River just kind of, she can't turn red because she
To give this chukara.
How much do we have?
And all the flowers.
14 shards of delirium. The
Oh,
largest
baby.
size of a deck of cards.
Plus getting the notes and the potion and some Eldritch Lilies for your research.
Bag of lilies.
Eldrick turns to River and says, they kind of messed up the first time, didn't they? And River says, well, this does make up for it. I mean, this is a lot of delirium. Says, well,
Oh, effort.
It was double the effort.
I feel like you wouldn't have been as far as you are in this research had it not been for us taking the initiative to dig a little bit deeper.
I will never be the same.
15 shards of delirium, the lilies, the successful mission.
Our cat gave your cat salmon.
We can pay you each 500 gold pieces now.
Woo!
I mean, thank you. Thank you, kind sir.
That's a reasonable amount, I suppose.
Babe just starts purring a little bit and she can't help it. She's just like,
Yeah.
A reasonable amount.
And We would like to know if there is any equipment that you will need for further work with the Amethyst Academy that we might be able to furnish for you.
I need to figure out a way to do that.
I have this alchemy stuff, and I pull out like all the damaged things, and like, I found a twistle thing and a swirly bird, and I'm pretty sure this is used for stuff.
I have
Yeah,
one
River
Bunsen burner.
passes and she says, "Oh, it's broken."
I have one Bunsen
just
burner on a
magic
shelf
that.
somewhere.
Just
That's
magic
all I
it
have.
back to
Ooh,
you.
and an obelisk that burns people.
Yeah, it'll pretty much be our Bunsen burner.
So you need equipment.
Yes.
I feel like maybe some better like backpacks or something to like hold our stuff. I feel like we've been carrying a lot of stuff.
I mean, a staff of power would be cool too.
We can't do that.
I've heard legend.
Yeah, I've heard
But,
legends of that.
relics.
but-
Eldrick says,
Hook me up.
he says, he lifts into his off one of the satchels. It's an amethyst satchel that has been embroidered with several interlocking patterns on it, and he says, your payment is in this, and the bag can be considered a bonus.
Oh, saga folding.
It's a bag. I'm so excited
open
for
up the bag.
It opens up, and you look inside, and it looks like about 3 or 4 feet. The bag is about 3 or 4 feet deeper than it should be, and at the bottom are several gold bars. And it looks like there's at least 1,500 gold pieces worth in gold bars, which must weigh several pounds. Yet the bag feels like it's almost empty.
I set the bag on the ground and I say, Pluto, hold my feet. And I climb into the bag and I start handing the metal parts up out of it.
So Pluto's the top of him is poking out as he's like lifting the gold bars out.
And I try to hold
and-
the bar, and I'm like, that's very heavy.
And as you do that, Tobias's eyes kind of go wide. It looks like he's probably never seen this much money before in his life. And Eldrick simply says, "Don't spend it all in one place." I noticed that that con man, Aldor the Immense, is still camped out here in town.
Con man?
We were just heading to him to buy some stuff.
Well,
Where else can we
it's
go?
more like a snake oil salesman.
He's selling a wand of web. Do you have one that I can buy for less than he's selling it?
Well, I hope it works. That's
Oh.
all I'll say.
Oh man, I always took
We should check on his return policy.
at least a warranty.
Yeah.
So, Sebastian, despite the misgivings that River has told me about, I'm very impressed with the work of you, Pluto, and Vale.
Thank you, sir.
Gracias.
Done well, and significantly better than the other survey teams that we've paid for to have explored Rakanai.
How are they doing?
Others?
We probably shouldn't talk about them. It's very depressing.
Will we find their names at the shack?
In any event, a few things are in motion that we're concerned about. You've no doubt seen that encampment of paladins of the Silver Order outside town.
Yeah.
The Hooded Lanterns don't get along well with them. There's these strange religious followers here, the monsters, these various groups. The city is the Mage Tower, by far. There are things in that tower that regular people are not meant to meddle in. And it is of utmost importance that the Amethyst Academy secures it before any other group
Real
can
pinky
gain
as a
any
car.
sort of foothold inside the city.
You have a lot of high passages. Why have you not tried to go in?
There are some interesting limitations, most notably the haze.
You're welcome.
With
For the
This-
just to be clear.
discovery and this work and the delirium samples that you've brought back for us, in the coming weeks, we would appreciate, however, to keep you on retainer, and perhaps once you have accumulated a stockpile of Oscar Yorn's solution, we would like to fund an expedition spearheaded by the three of you into the tower.
Sounds awesome.
Do I have to take more of that stuff?
I think we all do.
Oh yeah.
Do I?
Almost
You might
certainly.
Yeah.
Would she?
Probably.
For the
Okay.
for the deep
Okay.
haze.
Well,
I say that we obtain some cloth and we wear it like diapers. And that solves one of our major problems
Well,
with that potion.
This is a noticeable limitation, and if what you say is and that it causes some extreme after effects, it will make it difficult to do what we need to do. But if we can get a sense of what the status of things are in the tower, then we might be able to come up with some alternative solutions. This is not a pressing matter yet, and obviously the resources are not available to us at this time to mount that expedition until we get sufficient quantity of this Aqua Expurgo.
I have a question for you. So we have research into channeling the delirium into spells. We have the potion to withstand the deep
Why did it
haze.
start
Is there
raining
any
now?
research being done into how to get rid of the haze?